Allow me to introduce myself. I am Tara Narrator. I am 66 years young, enjoying my retirement in the charming solitude of Riverside. My beloved husband departed from this world far too soon, leaving me to nurture our precious daughter, alone. In those days, I toiled through shifts at the local textile mill, laboring tirelessly, my body weary and aching in ways that seemed to linger eternally. Even after my retirement, I found myself unable to remain idle. I diligently polished the floors, embraced various tasks, and embraced every opportunity that came my way to make ends meet. With each passing year and every single penny, I meticulously forged a path to amass a savings of $152,000. That money serves as my sanctuary. My hidden charm. It is the singular barrier that separates me from the enchanting yet chaotic tapestry of advancing years. My most devoted partner for the years to come. I am blessed with a single daughter. She has carved out her own existence now, complete with her own cherished little family. I have no desire to be a weight upon her heart. None. To me, that money transcends mere digits in a bank account. It is my beloved. My unwavering, quiet counterpart. 3 years passed, my beloved daughter united in marriage with Todd Miller. The newlyweds found their haven not far from my own abode, in a charming locale known as Riverside Commons. The house was acquired through a mortgage, and from what I observed, the monthly payment seemed to weigh heavily on the shoulders of its owners. Todd possessed an undeniable charm. Forever adorned with a gentle smile, ever uttering the most fitting words. With each visit, he would arrive bearing delightful tokens of affection. At times, more contemplative than daughter ever achieved. He bestowed upon me a sweetness that, at moments, seemed almost too exquisite to be real. On weekends, he would grace my home with his presence, tending to my windows and mopping the floor with a gentle touch. Should a light bulb flicker its last or a faucet begin to weep, a single call would summon him, arriving in mere moments, his smile radiant, as if he truly delighted in offering his assistance. Observing their laughter and the joy they share as a couple enveloped me in warmth, akin to a gentle sunbeam piercing through the chill of a winter's morn. Indeed, at times his enthusiasm seemed to overflow just a touch. Yet, I reminded myself that it is a rarity in these times to witness the youth showing reverence for their elders. How delightful that is. Daughter had chosen her partner with grace, and as her mother, my heart swelled with joy for her happiness. In moments when their finances were tight, I would discreetly offer them a small sum to ease their burden. Just a touch, merely to lend a hand. Yet, when it involved the grander sums, I always remained vigilant. Not a single time. What I longed for was a serene and secure retirement. A serene twilight of life. My daughter is joyful, my savings remain secure, I stand independent, free from the burden of becoming anyone's concern. That was the intention. Yet, as the months have gracefully unfolded, an ineffable sensation began to stir, disengaged. Todd found himself visiting more frequently than before. Still smiling, still ever so helpful, yet the essence of his warmth had shifted. Something fresh lay hidden beneath it. He no longer merely graced us with casual conversation. He would casually sprinkle in little remarks, as if they were mere whispers of the heart. Tara, does your pension suffice to embrace all your needs? Ah, you once graced the halls of that grand, time-honored textile factory, did you not? It must have been possible to set aside a little something. I hear you ventured into the world of investing as well? He often cloaked his intentions in the guise of mere curiosity, yet his gaze lingered on me, as if he were calculating the value I held within. Initially, I dismissed it with a wave of my hand. I assumed he was simply being considerate. Yet, as the occurrences unfolded repeatedly, I began to discern the unspoken inquiries lurking beneath the surface, tightening my stomach with their weight. Then arrived the gentle sighs. The light-hearted grievances. He would share with me the enchanting vision he and his brother Todd's had, dreaming of launching a direct-to-consumer organic farm business together. It was described as a splendid opportunity, merely requiring a touch of initial investment to set the wheels in motion. At times, he would lament the modest size of the house. They mentioned contemplating the joys of parenthood and expressed a desire for a more spacious abode. Ah, but what of the down payment? It felt as though a majestic mountain was bearing down upon him, overwhelming and relentless. Let us speak plainly, he desired for me to cover the cost. It was at that moment that I became more discerning. It was not that I lacked generosity. I found myself unable to tolerate the subtlety with which he approached the matter. If he wished to embark on a business venture, would hold that in high regard. Yet, even true brothers resolve matters with unambiguous clarity. What leads him to believe I would so easily part with my life savings as if it were a trivial matter? I have toiled with great dedication for that money. With a gentle smile, I engaged in the moment, gracefully weaving my way through with elusive responses. Ah, my modest pension gracefully attends to groceries and bills with ease. There are no remaining funds for investing or indulging in anything extravagant. It is truly wonderful to see you contemplating the creation of something meaningful. However, one must remember that the journey of business requires a touch of patience. One must approach it gradually, for plunging in without thought is not the way to proceed. I have yet to reveal the precise sum of my savings. It has always remained delightfully ambiguous. For herein lies the truth. One cannot truly decipher the depths of a heart merely by gazing upon a visage. Though he is my son-in-law, I have come to master the art of discretion. Not out of pettiness, but rather because in this world, the allure of wealth can tarnish the beauty of the soul more swiftly than one might imagine. I must safeguard that which belongs to me. My serene and devoted companion. Daughter mentioned it on a few occasions, expressing that Todd had been under considerable pressure of late. He expressed a desire to demonstrate his worth, to create something uniquely his own. Mother, the endeavor that Todd has been discussing with his brother. It truly carries a hint of promise. Would you be so kind as to lend a hand, perhaps? Her voice caressed the air with a gentle softness, while her eyes danced shyly away from my gaze. The moment her words graced the air, I understood completely. Todd had been enchanting her, whispering sweetly the allure of his proposal. My beloved daughter. Oh, how lovely she is, her kindness knows no bounds. She adores with every fiber of her being, placing her unwavering trust in Todd as if he were the very architect of the stars. I sighed softly, took her delicate hand in mine, and said with a tender tone, Daughter, embarking on a business venture is not merely a game. It's not that my heart doesn't yearn to support you both, but this money weighs heavily on my conscience. This marks the beginning of my retirement journey. If everything takes a turn for the worse, what steps should I take? Encourage Todd to secure a stable position first. Allow him the time to gather his resources. Once he has cultivated a fortune of his own, we shall engage in conversation. Should I be of assistance, I shall gladly offer my help. She remained silent, yet I could perceive the subtle glimmer of disappointment dancing in her eyes. And just like that, the entire affair nestled itself like a delicate thorn beneath my skin. Not piercing enough to cry out, yet just sufficient to leave a lingering sting time and again. That enchanting weekend, Daughter mentioned they would be gracing us with their presence for dinner. I arranged the table with all their cherished delicacies. I savored each detail with care. The roast was exquisite, the salad delightfully crisp, and the wine gently breathing on the counter. I longed for it to embrace the warmth of home. During dinner, Todd exhibited an unusual level of attentiveness. Excessively so. He continually replenished my glass, attentively inquiring about my feelings, and even replaced my old wine glass with a beautiful new one he had brought along. Tara, he remarked, his practiced smile illuminating the warm glow of the dining room lights. Knowing your fondness for red wine, I chose a delightful new glass set just for you. During my last visit, I couldn't help but observe that yours seemed to have lost a bit of their luster. He persistently lifted his glass in a toast to me, the sound of our glasses meeting resonating with an air of exuberance, as he savored one drink after another. His cheeks bloomed with a delicate hue, his words danced on the edge of slumber, yet I understood him all too well. Todd possessed a remarkable ability to savor his spirits. This was a grand performance. As the wine flowed gracefully to the midpoint of the bottle and the plates lay bare, he gently placed his glass aside and leaned closer, his eyes shimmering with an emotion that transcended mere intoxication. Tara, He murmured, his voice laced with a velvety cadence. There's something I've been longing to share with you. I reclined in my chair, observing him with a keen eye. I recognized that tone. A presence was approaching. Proceed, I urged with a tranquil and unwavering demeanor. Daughter often whispers that your retirement savings are but a mere trifle, yet I find it hard to believe such a notion. He leaned closer, his voice a soft murmur, yet the weight of his words held an undeniable assurance. You have devoted your entire existence to your endeavors. Surely, you cannot possess merely that small amount. Oh, darling, could you not simply be forthright with me? What is the true extent of your savings? He hesitated for a moment before swiftly gesturing with his hands, as if he had inadvertently triggered a hidden peril beneath his feet. Oh, please, allow me to clarify. I assure you, my intentions are not to intrude. My heart is heavy with concern for you. In a world filled with countless deceptions, one cannot help but ponder the safety of their hard-earned money. What if it rests in a place fraught with peril, or worse, what if someone cunningly persuades you to part with it? If you could share the precise number with me, perhaps I could assist you in managing it more gracefully, you see? His voice carried a note of concern, yet within the depths of his gaze, I glimpsed a flicker of something more acute, something meticulously discerning. He cast his line with a carefree spirit, leaving the bait exposed to the whims of the water. Daughter extended her hand and delicately pulled on his arm. Todd, it seems you've indulged a bit too much this evening. Perhaps we should reconsider. Yet Todd gently pushed her away, his voice elevating just enough to envelop the room in a more intimate embrace. I am quite well, thank you. My heart is simply heavy with concern for Tara, that is all. Shall we indulge in a conversation fueled by the warmth of spirits? Kindly. This was a carefully orchestrated performance. He allowed the wine to weave its magic, setting the perfect atmosphere before he made his heartfelt request. Very well, Todd, shall we engage in a delightful game? This charming lady possesses a handful of her own secrets. I released a deep, weary sigh, infusing my voice with a delicate touch of hesitation and a whisper of tender vulnerability. I gazed at him, a smile delicately crafted yet tinged with effort. Todd, you hold the cherished title of my son-in-law. In that case, you are almost like a son to me, as you so kindly inquired. I shall not deceive you. I lingered for a moment, lowering my voice to a soft whisper, allowing a delicate tremor to weave through my words. Throughout my life, I have diligently gathered and preserved my resources, yet all that remains is a modest sum of $20,000. I lifted 2 fingers gracefully into the air, with a slow and deliberate motion, allowing them to descend gently like a leaf surrendering to the embrace of the earth. My gaze drifted to the table, my voice softening into a gentle hush. That is all. I refrain from touching that money unless absolutely necessary. We, the more seasoned souls, often find ourselves focused not on the art of flourishing, but rather on the delicate dance of enduring. Simply a tranquil state of being. As I spoke, I maintained a watchful gaze upon him, observing each subtle twitch and delicate flicker. And when I uttered the figure of 20,000, it resonated like a sharp caress. His gaze became still, his pupils narrowing with intensity. There it was, that delicate flicker of disappointment, keen and undeniable, akin to a gentle ripple gracing the surface of tranquil waters. He attempted to mask it with a light-hearted laugh, yet that lingering moment of uncomfortable silence? I have captured it. 20, my dear. He echoed the words, as if seeking reassurance, perhaps to find faith in their truth. He managed a few strained chuckles and nodded, as if it were of no consequence. Well, that is quite delightful, indeed. You truly should cherish that and keep it secure. Many dubious individuals wander the world, seeking to exploit the unsuspecting. His voice had taken on a gentle, elusive quality. His warmth faded gently, as if the very essence of him had been released into the ether. And in that moment, the room seemed to embrace a subtle chill. The remainder of the evening's meal unfolded in an unusual manner. Todd fell into a serene silence. He scarcely grazed his meal, merely shifting it about his plate as if engaged in a delicate calculation, contemplating the figures, undoubtedly aware of how woefully inadequate 20,000 truly was. Later, he mentioned that his phone was running low on battery and inquired if he might charge it in my bedroom. Daughter gracefully moved about the kitchen, tending to the dishes with a gentle touch. There I sat, solitary in the living room, the soft hum of the television filling the air with the distant chatter of a late-night talk show, voices intertwining with the echo of canned laughter. Todd glided into the bedroom, the door nearly, yet not entirely, shutting behind him, creating a delicate sliver of light. Something within me grew rigid. An exquisite little instinct, timeless yet ever vibrant, whispered softly at the recesses of my mind. There seems to be a subtle discord in the air. I gently placed the remote aside, rose with grace, and softly made my way toward the bedroom. Silence reigns, free from the whispers of creaking floorboards. Let us proceed with grace and caution. I drew in a breath and leaned in, just close enough to catch the whisper of sound. His voice was soft, a gentle murmur that brushed against my ears, yet I managed to capture its essence. "My dear Kev?" "Indeed?" I inquired. "Hold a moment." He was attuned to her words. "She mentions that she possesses merely 20. Once upon a time, exasperation." He endeavored to maintain a hushed tone, yet it was imbued with a profound sense of disappointment. Like a soul who has unearthed a treasure chest, only to discover it brimming with mere stones. Indeed, she remains steadfast in her commitment. It echoes the sentiments expressed by daughter. Yet another moment of stillness. That exquisite plan of ours. It seems unlikely to come to fruition. Uttered. In that moment. Very well, I understand. What other delightful pursuits await us? Simply. Let us place it on pause for the moment. We shall converse later. The connection was lost. Silence enveloped the room, delicate and still, much like a fine layer of dust resting gently upon forgotten treasures. Only the gentle, soothing hum of the air conditioner lingered in the air. I remained there, ensnared in a moment of stillness. A chill of unease trickled down my spine. My fingers danced with a thrill of excitement. A shiver ascended from my toes, gracefully tracing a path to the nape of my neck. Deliberation. It seems that what we hoped for may not come to fruition. And thus, it came to a close. The allure, the considerate gestures, the tender care of the home, the gentle smiles that warmed the heart. None of it had truly existed. Todd's assistance was not born of benevolence. His lack of inquiry revealed a disinterest that spoke volumes. He was surveying the scene with a discerning eye. All that sweetness had merely been a delicate disguise. In their minds, my savings, a sum of $152,000, had already been tallied, apportioned, perhaps even indulged in. They lingered in anticipation, poised for the delicate exchange. Instead of presenting the entire pot, I had merely placed a decoy. $20,000. And in that fleeting moment, their delicate plan began to unravel. It struck me with the force of an unexpected blow to the heart. Whispered. Weighty. Stunning. I inhaled slowly and deeply, urging myself to remain composed. I strolled back to the couch, gracefully picked up the remote, and feigned a casual flick through the channels. The soft, flickering blue glow of the television caressed my features, casting a gentle light upon me. Yet my eyes, they had ceased to observe. They found themselves ensnared in the heart of a tempest. Todd emerged from the bedroom moments later. His visage was ashen, the tension in his jaw palpable, and a lingering shadow danced in his eyes, elusive and haunting. Yet, the instant our eyes met, a radiant smile graced his lips. A feeble, strained expression that resembled a grimace more than anything else. Tara, I believe it is time for us to take our leave. It would be wise for you to indulge in a bit of rest. Daughter emerged from the kitchen, delicately drying her hands on a soft towel. He lifted his gaze, a look of bewilderment crossing his features. So soon? Why not linger a while longer? Oh, no, Todd exclaimed with urgency, gently pulling at her arm. We have a delightful early morning ahead of us. He gently urged her toward the door, as if drawn by an invisible thread of connection. In that moment, I beheld the urgency to depart, the longing for freedom etched in his stance. I escorted them to the door, gently closed it behind them, and found myself enveloped once more in the serene stillness of the living room. In this moment, the television was the sole voice, its soft murmurs resonating through the stillness, while the flickering blue light danced upon the walls, reminiscent of a gentle heartbeat. I settled into my thoughts, allowing them to unfurl like a delicate film, the echoes of the phone call dancing through my mind repeatedly. The sound of Todd's voice. His eloquent expressions. Every peculiar behavior from the past week's dances before my mind's eye, like fleeting snapshots in a delicate montage. The intrusive inquiries regarding my financial matters. The gentle sighs, the weight of stress, the tales woven around the need for financial solace. The feigned intoxication, a subtle invitation for me to lower my defenses. The weight of disappointment enveloped him as he heard the number 20. And most troubling of all, that singular phrase resonated like a haunting chime. Our cherished plan. It seems unlikely to come to fruition. Everything fell into place. Each delicate gesture. Each smile. Each and every word. And then, for just a fleeting moment, a chilling thought graced my mind. What if I had revealed the truth to him? What if I had revealed the true number? What might their next move have been? A shiver coursed through me as I inhaled deeply, the ache of the breath urging me to quell the fear that threatened to rise. I found myself unable to succumb to panic. I found myself unable to unleash my emotions, to weep, or to face the truth. Such an action would merely unsettle them, prompting a retreat, a moment of reflection, before they return with a more refined and perilous approach. Indeed, I found it essential to maintain my composure. Remain in the lead. I felt compelled to uncover the true nature of their intentions. Thus, I found it necessary to safeguard my finances. Everything, my dear. Once I revealed to Todd the extent of my savings, a subtle transformation occurred within him. It lacked any hint of subtlety. In truth, it was nearly whimsical. When our eyes met, he still offered a smile, yet there was a subtle shift in its warmth. The warmth had faded away. It possessed the allure of a receptionist meticulously schooled in the art of graciousness. Remote, slender, and completely lacking in emotion. The handyman's routine has also faded away. There shall be no more weekend visits. There shall be no further proposals to mend the dripping faucet or to exchange a light bulb. And perhaps most revealing of all, he never once mentioned money again. It felt as though that dinner, that gentle yet probing exchange, had faded into the ether, never to be recalled. As though the 20 grand I bestowed upon him had been merely a fleeting whisper or a misunderstanding of sorts. Yet, I was aware of the truth that lay beneath. I sensed that our story was far from finished. Not with Todd, my dear. Not with Todd's, my dear. The two brothers possessed a steadfast spirit, never one to yield to defeat. As anticipated, it was not long before they altered their approach. Todd ceased to arrive unaccompanied. Instead, he began to invite Todds into his world with increasing frequency. At first glance, it seemed they were merely visiting for dinner, or perhaps to share my company. Yet, I was aware of their true intentions. Seeking to uncover the details that eluded them during our initial encounter. They were merely changing perspectives. Todd's was a few years younger than Todd. Though he lacked his brother's polished appearance, he more than compensated with his undeniable charm. As he stepped through the threshold, a warm greeting escaped his lips. "Hello, Aunt Tara." Cozy, inviting, relaxed. His eyes flitted about, as if searching every nook and cranny, while his words flowed forth with an unrestrained fervor. He possessed a certain elusive charm that one might describe as cleverness. Yet, such cleverness invariably sends a shiver down my spine. He was never one to remain still. He would eagerly rise to assist Todd in massaging my shoulders, or settle himself beside me on the couch, engaging in a delightful stream of conversation. He would inquire about every little detail. The delightful meals I savored, the charming boutiques I explored, and the neighbor's dog that captured my affection. Aunt Tara, this place is simply delightful. Your solitary routine is truly admirable. What delightful dishes do you typically prepare? Perhaps I shall prepare a delightful creation to share with you on my next visit. This neighborhood appears to be tranquil and secure, does it not? Being alone at night does not stir any unease within you. I smiled, embodying the gracious host, responding to each inquiry with an effortless charm, as if I hadn't already discerned the intricacies of their game. Yet within, every warning light flickered in a vivid crimson hue. There I sat, much like a seasoned fox nestled upon her couch, observing as two charming little weasels entered with their feigned smiles and twitching noses, delicately sniffing the air, attempting to gauge the essence of the gathering within the den. I began to observe the subtle nuances around me. Delicate nuances. The glances they would share when they believed I was unaware. Those delicate moments of unspoken connection. Like two young dreamers weaving a plan, determined to see it flourish this time. They would gracefully excuse themselves, stepping out onto the balcony for a moment of solitude with a smoke, or meandering away one by one to attend to their needs. Yet, it was their voices, the rhythm of their words, and the way they averted their gaze before departing the room that lingered in my mind. It was unmistakable. They were quietly slipping away to share whispers. Charting a course. They had ventured into the realm of solitude. Now they were embarking on their charming camaraderie. Did they truly believe the charming old lady could be easily deceived simply because she offered a warm smile and prepared a delightful meal for them? Let us discover what you possess, gentlemen. One enchanting afternoon, they graced my living room with a splendid performance. A duet upon the stage, featuring two souls entwined in a delicate dance of dialogue. Todd's face radiated with joy, reminiscent of a child discovering the magic of Christmas morning. Todd and I have been immersed in this vertical farming project, he remarked, his eyes glimmering with a practiced enthusiasm. It is remarkably affordable, exceptionally rewarding, entirely sustainable, and deeply rooted in local, community support. We have the entire plan beautifully laid out. I simply wish to see it take flight. Todd embodied the serene and contemplative companion. With a voice laden with regret, he lamented, "The true misfortune is our lack of startup funds. Otherwise, this would be an effortless decision." Todd's leaped in once more, effortlessly graceful. Indeed. It would be a profound sorrow to let the opportunity slip away. Dearest Aunt Tara, may I inquire about your thoughts? And there it lay, the ball gracefully tossed into my realm. Todd's eyes glimmered with a fervent anticipation, as if he were poised on the brink of a grand revelation, eagerly awaiting the fateful numbers to unveil their fortune. I savored a leisurely sip of tea, allowing its warmth to envelop me. Allow the silence to linger, just so. Gently place the cup upon the table, allowing it to rest with a delicate sound. In that moment, I spoke with a serene voice, my expression a mystery. It certainly holds a delightful promise. They both drew closer, their hearts entwined in the moment. But you know what they say, I added, my voice carrying a subtle charm. The more enchanting the melody, the more cautious one must tread. One must remember that nothing of value comes without a cost. Each investment carries its own allure of uncertainty. In pursuit of fleeting riches, one often finds themselves with nothing but empty hands. As I completed my task, a spark ignited in Todd's gaze. Todd's lips quivered ever so slightly, but I noticed it all the same. That delicate little fissure in the facade. Did you believe you could enchant me into revealing it? Please make another attempt. Is that the money in question? It does not belong to you. Never shall it be. They had endeavored to embrace that path with unwavering determination. I brought it to a close. Challenging. When the allure of charm fell short, Todd gracefully shifted his approach. He ceased his direct approach and began to weave his way in through daughter. The gentle simmering approach. The murmured uncertainties. The gentle weight of guilt, persistent and subtle like the soft drip of a leaky faucet. My love, I find myself enveloped in an overwhelming tide of pressure. This job cannot be my eternal companion. It holds no promise for what lies ahead. I yearn to create something uniquely mine. Alas, I find myself lacking the funds to embark on this journey. Are you familiar with my dear friend mentioned? His father-in-law graciously chose to invest in his culinary venture, the food truck. Now the gentleman is truly excelling. I seek but a modest request. A mere whisper of faith. Your mother possesses wealth. She might offer her assistance. Why does she hesitate? I am your devoted husband. Doesn't that entwine my heart with yours, making me family as well? Such words, delivered in gentle whispers and weary gazes, enveloped daughter like warm water cradling a delicate frog. Softly spoken. Gentle and unassuming. Simply unwavering. And daughter, my dear, devoted girl, she possesses the gentlest heart I have ever encountered. She held unwavering faith in him. It continues to do so. She perceived him as diligent and driven. A gentleman endeavoring to create something more exquisite. Gradually, Todd ensnared her further into his enchanting embrace. He began to grace my presence with his visits more frequently. Perpetually gracious, eternally gentle. Yet, there was a subtle transformation in her gaze. Her glances carried a certain weight, an unspoken sentiment that lingered in the air, elusive and profound. Until the moment she gracefully chose to do so. She had just completed the delicate task of trimming vegetables, still adorned in her apron, perched gracefully on a kitchen stool, her hands gently twisting the hem of the fabric in a dance of nervous anticipation. Mother? Indeed, my dear. I responded softly, even as my intuition sensed the direction this was taking. Todd has been navigating through a considerable amount of stress lately. The endeavor of his brother. It truly carries a hint of promise. She glanced up at me, her eyes flitting away almost immediately, as if the weight of our gaze was too much to endure. I found myself pondering, perhaps you might consider lending a small portion of that 20,000? Merely to assist them in embarking on their journey? Todd mentioned that it is but a fleeting moment. Once they begin to see a profit, he shall return what is owed to you. He even vowed to ignite a spark of interest. There was a moment, I had always known it would arrive in due time. Yet, my heart yearned not for the riches. It longed for her. My beloved daughter, the very essence of my being, was being transformed into a bridge. Neither a companion in a fantasy nor a collaborator in commerce. A mere pawn. A fragment in a game she had yet to realize she was part of. As I gazed upon her, an exquisite sensation pierced through me, sharp and undeniable. Not in anger. Heartache. I was unable to make it flourish. Not at this moment. I found myself unable to tear the blindfold from her eyes, for to do so would shatter her unwavering faith in her husband in a single, heart-wrenching moment. Such a revelation could undoubtedly break her heart, perhaps even jeopardize the bond she shares with her partner. I contained the warmth blossoming within me, allowing my voice to remain steady, inviting, and composed. Daughter, I murmured gently, our gazes entwined. It's not that I lack the desire to assist. Yet, it is essential for you to grasp this. That money, it serves as my refuge. This is everything I possess. I lingered in the stillness, allowing the silence to envelop the moment, before I resumed my words. Steadfast yet warm. In the realm of commerce, certainty is but a fleeting whisper. What if, this endeavor does not succeed? If that money were to vanish, what would become of me? Who shall take care of my expenses? What lies ahead for me? Is it you and Todd, then? Are you truly able to indulge in that? He became motionless. My words found their place. She parted her lips, only to seal them once more. She was aware of the answer. Indeed, she certainly did. They found it challenging to manage their mortgage, much less the financial needs of another soul. Mother? She whispered softly, her voice trembling delicately in the air. I understand that the journey has not been without its challenges for you. My only desire is to assist Todd, nothing more. I raised a hand and softly interrupted her, allowing a touch more weight to infuse my voice. Daughter, it is truly admirable for a man to aspire to create something meaningful. Yet, it must arise from the depths of his strength. From the office. Through dedication. To construct your path upon the sacrifices of another, particularly by exerting pressure on your own mother, may yield financial gain, yet it shall not lead you to lasting fulfillment. For such a sum, it holds a certain significance. Yet it shall not bear him away. That struck a chord. She gazed up at me, astonished, as if I had just unveiled a truth she wished to evade yet found impossible to dismiss. Mother, how could you possibly speak of Todd in such a manner? He is unlike that. I locked my eyes with hers and let out a deep, languid sigh. Do you truly believe so? I inquired softly. Contemplate the manner in which he has been behaving of late. The manner in which he inquires. The moment is exquisite. The weight of expectation. You truly haven't perceived anything amiss. She remained silent. She was unable to. My beloved daughter. My darling. You are the heart of my existence, yet now you are the very force that rends my soul asunder. He believed she was safeguarding the essence of love. Yet, she remained unaware of how Todd had employed her, as a delicate messenger, a forceful battering ram, the final key to unfasten my guarded heart. As she rose at last, her eyes glistening with a tender hue, the atmosphere surrounding us was heavy with a blend of warmth and sorrow. She departed without a glance over her shoulder, her steps quickening with an unusual urgency. She was filled with a fiery passion. And to make matters worse, she bore the marks of her suffering. I must admit, I lost my way in the conversation. For I understood that the barrier ascending between us, each brick laid with a touch of sorrow, was not of her making. It belonged to Todd. And now that his journey with daughter had come to an end, and my 2000 felt more tangible than ever, he fell silent once more. The visits became less frequent. The smiles gently dimmed. Yet, a sense of relief eluded me. For I was acquainted with him. Men such as Todd possess an unwavering spirit. They come together once more. He lingered in anticipation. Deliberating. Observing for a chink in the facade. I have come to a decision. If he lingered in anticipation of his next step, perhaps it was time for me to take the initiative and make my move first. That enchanting afternoon, I prepared the bait. I had delicately printed a counterfeit investment brochure from the library. A charming little tale entitled Community Organic Garden Partnership Program. At the very top, in a striking bold red pen, I had elegantly circled the pivotal line. Commencement of investment. $5,000, a sum that dances gracefully in the realm of possibilities. Anticipated yield. 12 to 14%, a delicate measure indeed. I positioned it beneath the lamp at the heart of the dining table, in that perfect spot where the sunlight caressed the wood just so. As I gracefully entered the room with a bowl of fruit in hand, Todd made his entrance through the front door. I had set my old phone aside, its speaker softly carrying on a conversation that had already begun. Indeed, I find myself in a position where I might be able to gather a sum of 5,000. Yet, that may be a bit too far. I must preserve the remainder for future medical needs. You were the one who spoke of its low risk and stable returns. I'm uncertain, perhaps. That amounts to a quarter of all that I possess. It fills me with a delightful sense of apprehension. From the periphery of my vision, I observed Todd linger in the entryway, caught in the delicate act of removing his shoes. His eyes were drawn directly to the table. Bound to the parchment. He paused for a fleeting moment, then continued on as if the world around him had remained unchanged. I hung up, turned with a soft gasp, and pretended to be taken aback. Oh my, Todd, you took me by surprise. When did you arrive here? He offered a casual shrug, accompanied by a charming little grin. I have just arrived. Tara, I found myself captivated by your words. Did I catch a whisper of your thoughts on investing? I set the phone down with a graceful ease. Indeed, a dear friend suggested it. A delightful endeavor for the community. That sounds quite intriguing. My savings amount to 20,000, so I can only afford to risk 5 at most. Merely indulging in a bit of playful exploration. He cast another fleeting look at the paper, striving to maintain a tone that danced lightly in the air. Are you truly contemplating this? Is it truly genuine? I feigned a moment of uncertainty. I find myself still pondering the decision at hand. To be candid, the sum is so modest that they are not particularly eager to grant me entry. I thought it wise to seek a second opinion from someone youthful and astute in matters of finance. Todd's lips curled with a subtle, enchanting allure. Yet, it was his eyes that revealed his true self. They sparkled with a gentle radiance. Text, you know, he said, drawing a stool nearer, it's truly wonderful that you're contemplating the idea of investing. Yet, if you truly wish to embark on a wise journey with your finances, why not contemplate our enchanting farm project? At the very least, it is guided by the warmth of family. Rest assured, we would never lead you astray. With a gentle smile, I lifted my tea, softly blowing across its surface. Oh darling, I whispered gently, when it comes to family, the blade pierces a touch more profoundly. That is what lends it a bittersweet edge. He blinked for the briefest of moments, and the smile wavered delicately. Tara, you truly have a way with words, he remarked, a soft laugh escaping his lips. I savored the tea. In these times, even those bound by blood maintain a careful ledger of their ties. Ah, a son-in-law, I trust you can appreciate my perspective. He remained silent. He gazed at the fruit bowl, his thoughts racing with a fervor that seemed almost palpable. And indeed, the following day, Todd's made his appearance. His smile radiated with an unusual brilliance, almost dazzling, and he didn't pause for his coat to be removed before diving right in. Dear Aunt Tara, Todd mentioned that you are exploring the possibility of investing in a community farm as well. How wonderful it is that we find ourselves in the same enchanting space. I arched an eyebrow, a gentle smile gracing my lips, yet I maintained a warm demeanor. It seems you both are beginning to complete one another's thoughts. He smiled warmly and gently patted Todd on the back. That is what one might call a splendid bond of brotherhood. Indeed, families ought to cherish and support one another, don't you think? We were pondering the possibility that you might choose to invest in our project instead. The least amount is 10,000. I let out a prolonged, wistful sigh. My dear boys, you are aware that I possess only a total of 20. Precisely. Todd's radiated joy. Begin with 10, simply give it a try. When the moment arrives, you may effortlessly enhance it further down the line. I offered them a courteous smile, nothing beyond that. There is no accord. Freedom to explore. Only the hush of stillness. Yet deep within my heart, I sensed they had succumbed. Their energy soared to new heights after that moment. Increased visits, enhanced allure, greater dedication. I could nearly envision the glimmer of dollar signs dancing in their minds. Yet, that was not the source of my deepest concern. It was indeed daughter. She began to visit more often, claiming she simply wished to see how things were, yet there was an elusive quality about her that stirred a sense of unease. She no longer possessed the same ease she once did. Her smiles were delicate, her movements imbued with a cautious grace, reminiscent of one striving for normalcy while concealing a hidden ache. She would enter, casting her gaze about as if the room held whispers of hidden secrets. Her eyes danced restlessly. Her lips would quiver as if words danced on the tip of her tongue, yet she held them back, savoring the silence. I chose not to confront her about it. Not at this moment. I gently poured her a cup of her beloved jasmine tea, delicately sweetened with a hint of honey, and smiled as if I were blissfully unaware of everything around us. Yet, within, I found myself observing, anticipating, attentively embracing the whispers of the moment. She perched gracefully at the kitchen bar that day, gently stirring her tea with the delicate string from the bag, her gaze lowered, lips softly sealed. I found myself seated opposite her, casually perusing a collection of grocery circulars as if it were just another ordinary afternoon. Yet, the atmosphere that envelopes us. Weighty. As if a shadow lingered on the countertop, poised in anticipation. I allowed her the time she needed. Allow the silence to linger gracefully. Allow her to linger in it until she found herself compelled to shatter it. After a brief pause, she finally raised her head and spoke with a delicate, hesitant grace. "Dearest mother, are you contemplating the prospect of investing in that enchanting project your friend mentioned to you?" I scarcely lifted my gaze. "I never claimed to be. I am simply perusing the materials, discovering their essence. While the allure of seemingly stable returns beckons, my heart remains undecided for the moment." Lost in contemplation. She nodded gracefully, took a delicate sip of her tea, and after a moment's pause, inquired softly, "Are you intending to use the entire 20,000 for it?" At that moment, my gaze fell upon her. Absolutely perfect. My gaze surprised her. She recoiled, reminiscent of a child discovered in the act of pilfering sweet delights. Her gaze flitted to the side, her voice softening to a whisper. My intentions were not meant to convey anything significant. Todd casually brought it up, suggesting that perhaps you were inclined to invest, and we find ourselves in a state of concern. We wish to protect you from any deceitful schemes. That melody. I had a feeling it would come to this. Not meant for her. That was Todd's script, precisely as it was written. I exhaled softly, allowing my voice to flow with a tender grace, yet carrying a depth that lingered. "My dear daughter, your concern for my well-being warms my heart. Indeed, I truly do. Yet, what eludes my understanding is, what is it that makes your husband so curious about my financial situation?" She parted her lips, only to seal them once more. Silence lingers. I leaned in ever so slightly. During his last visit, I subtly brought up my exploration of some investment materials. The following day, his brother graced my doorstep with an enticing proposal, seeking my support to bring their vision to life. Do you not perceive that timing as a touch too fortuitous? Yet, there remains an absence. Yet her silence spoke volumes beyond her awareness. I beheld it in her countenance. The delicate hesitation, the palpable tension, the subtle tug of war unfolding behind her eyes. Once more, I found myself yielding to tenderness. I mustn't exert too much pressure, not at this moment. She was already unraveling at the seams. "My dear daughter," I whispered softly. "I nurtured you all by myself. I understand the depths of your heart like no other. Your intentions are not to cause me pain. You are simply drawn in." He has spoken so frequently that now uncertainty lingers in your heart. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she gently bit her lip. "Mother, he is truly burdened by an immense weight of pressure. I understand your reservations about him, yet I assure you, he possesses a kind heart beneath it all." I chose not to engage in a dispute. I have just placed my teacup down with the utmost care. "I never claimed he was a bad person," I stated with a serene composure. "Yet, I find myself pondering whether he perceives me as part of his family." She stood still, caught in a moment of unexpected stillness. Continued onward. With a gentle voice and steady hands, there is not a trace of anger to be found. Yet each word found its mark with perfect precision. If he truly regarded me as a mother, he wouldn't gaze upon my retirement funds as though they were a chance to win the lottery. Were his affections genuine, he would not resort to employing you as a means to reach me. Silence enveloped the room. That final line struck with the force of a hammer wrapped in the softness of velvet. Daughter gently bowed her head. "Cease the descent. Cease all defenses." He comprehended with a gentle grace. She simply wasn't ready to acknowledge it just yet. Yet, I had sown the seed. And what of that seed? It would flourish. She departed not long after, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, offering no farewell, merely slipping through the door without a backward glance. I lingered in the kitchen, solitude enveloping me, her visage dancing before my eyes like a candle on the verge of extinguishing. It pained me deeply. Indeed, it certainly did. Yet, I understood that allowing that pain to overshadow my present was not the path I should take. This was not the moment for tenderness. As I rinsed the cups, dried them with care, and returned them gently to their place in the cabinet, a thought seized me, clear and unexpected. I seek assurance. Genuine and undeniable evidence. It is not meant for her. Not even for my sake. For what lies ahead. When you reach the moment of securing your own doors against those who once shared your dinner table, the warmth has surely faded away. Yet, chill does not imply indifference. I gently retrieved my old phone from the depths of the drawer. Marred display. A corner, slightly marred by a crack. Yet, upon tapping the voice memos app, it continued to function gracefully. Indeed, it possesses a certain grainy quality. Yet, it would capture the whispers of a conversation beyond a closed door. At times, that is precisely what one requires. The moment had arrived to cease the defenses and begin the enchanting act of recording. In the days that followed, I carried on as though the world remained unchanged. I prepared meals, tidied up, strolled through the serene paths, and nourished the birds, just as I have always cherished doing. Yet, it was undeniable that Todd and Todd's began to grace us with their presence more frequently once more. Yet, on this occasion, their rhythm had transformed. They ceased their insistence. Ceased the endeavor of pitching. Instead, they embraced the art of patience. One enchanting afternoon, Todd's arrived, bearing a charming brown paper bag brimming with delightful cookies. Handcrafted with care, he remarked, from a charming friend's boutique bakery. If our little venture flourishes, perhaps we could invite you to join us as a partner, he said with a playful wink. A gentle smile graced my lips. Dearest gentleman, there is truly no need for you to dwell on thoughts of me. Regrettably, I find myself lacking the resources to support anyone financially. Todd's offered a charming smile in return. Yet, dear Aunt Tara, you truly deserve to feel embraced and cherished. Your sense of style is truly exquisite. And every endeavor requires a touch of someone with a hint of elegance. Embraced. Moreover, my dear, you mean to say liable. You mean caught in the allure. I allowed the remark to drift away unnoticed. As the two of them entered the kitchen to assist me with moving some boxes, I discreetly tucked my old phone beneath the dining table. Exquisite perspective, delightful range. They remained blissfully unaware. And when they returned to their seats, they settled in with delightful ease. In that moment, the masks fell away. Is it perhaps a touch too grand? Do you truly believe that? Todd's let out a soft scoff, his voice barely above a whisper. She possesses a keen intellect. It cannot be that she spoke the truth. Let us adhere to the plan, Todd whispered softly. Have daughter return once more, but this time, let her embody a sense of longing. Truly convey the weight of the tension. She will surely yield. As soon as the funds are received, I shall transfer them into my name. We must act swiftly before she retreats. The elderly woman becomes easily flustered. Any hint of uncertainty, and she will gracefully depart. Then arrived the phrase that sent a chill coursing through my veins. Truly, if there were a day when she simply did not awaken, would that not bring a certain ease to the heart? The funds, after all, are destined for daughter's embrace. Joyful laughter. Softly anxious. Have you ever observed? With the passage of time, their fears seem to deepen. Of facing challenges, of solitude. It renders them effortless. Each and every word captured on film. That weary phone, bless its heart, captured every moment beautifully. The following morning, I delicately edited the most troublesome parts of the audio and shared it with a dear old friend. Now enjoying her retirement, she once graced the halls of the county office as a legal clerk. Moments later, she replied with a single, delicate line. Exercise caution. Men in despair often find themselves driven to folly. On that enchanting night, I carefully retrieved my cherished bank statements, my will, and a collection of notarized documents. With grace, I gathered them into a folder and secured it within the wooden chest nestled beneath my bed. I relocated the key to a more secretive sanctuary. A more exquisite choice. I held no concern that they might attempt to take anything from me. They lacked a certain audacity. I found myself concerned that they might deceive me. A graceful signature. A document I did not thoroughly peruse. An ephemeral permission that unexpectedly transformed into a lasting commitment. In these times, it seems that individuals no longer intrude upon your sanctuary to steal away your treasures. As they gracefully enter through the front door, their smiles enchant you, compelling you to willingly surrender it into their hands. Ah, that timeless wooden chest. It encompasses all that is dear to the heart. The final bastion standing between me and despair. I lingered at the threshold of the bedroom that night, gazing upon it with a sense of wonder. Contemplating. This is the moment. This box contains the essence of my life's endeavors. And now it has become a tempting allure. On the day of their return, the sky wore a somber hue, with gray clouds hanging low, while the branches of the trees outside caressed the windows like anxious fingertips. The wind carried an air of anticipation, as if the world held its breath, waiting for a moment to unfold. I found myself seated at the table, gently perusing the familiar pages of the Community Organic Garden brochure. The moment had arrived for the grand spectacle to unfold. They had mentioned their intention to visit, bringing with them delightful new product samples from their farm, and perhaps to engage in a more intimate conversation regarding investment opportunities. I left the brochure elegantly splayed open, with delicate red underlines marking its significance. Should family insights be necessary, seek their counsel prior to making any investments. My recorder lay in wait, nestled within an empty tea tin on the lowest shelf of the bookcase, a silent guardian of whispered secrets. The chime of the doorbell echoed softly through the air. I scarcely lifted my gaze. Todd stepped in first, radiating a facade of bright cheerfulness. "Dearest Tara," with the gentle pressure of the day, "I hope your head is at ease and not causing you any discomfort." "I'm fine," I replied, my voice devoid of warmth. "I am currently perusing some project materials." Todd's trailed behind, ever cheerful, cradling a delicate paper bag. "Today, I shall indulge in the delightful creation of homemade onion bacon cookies. My personal creation. I would love to hear your thoughts." I grasped the bag, my gaze lingering elsewhere. "Thank you ever so much." They settled into their seats, sharing a lingering glance. I seized the moment and feigned ignorance. I sighed, as if yielding to a gentle warmth within me. "I have been pondering," I remarked. "Your endeavor. Perhaps it is not as daring as I once believed." Todd's gaze lifted gracefully. Todd's shines with the warmth of a festive dawn. Yet, I pressed on with grace. My heart finds it challenging to embrace full commitment. I would be able to contribute a mere 10,000. "Enough, my dear." The atmosphere grew charged with anticipation. Only for a fleeting moment. Todd's was the first to regain his strength. His smile held a hint of eagerness, almost as if it yearned to convey unspoken emotions. 10 is truly wonderful. There is no need for you to rush into doing more at this moment. As soon as it begins to yield its rewards, you can effortlessly cultivate and expand from that point onward. Todd nodded with a graceful swiftness. "Precisely. Tara, this transcends mere finances. It's about inviting you to join me as a cherished partner. Belonging to the first tier, embraced by the warmth of family." I savored my coffee. "You gentlemen are aware of my circumstances. That 10,000 is my lifeline. Should fate take an unexpected turn, the chance for a second beginning eludes me." Todd's fingers danced upon the table, revealing the thrill that lay beneath that charming smile. "Place your trust in us. We shall not disappoint you." "Indeed," I pondered. "You would simply inscribe my name upon a document I have yet to peruse, and then allocate the remaining funds to your burgeoning venture. I am not as naive as one might presume." I nodded gently, my fingers delicately collecting the brochure. "I would like to share my thoughts with you. Would you consider returning next week? I shall have my dear friend review the contract. She is a former attorney, now enjoying the pleasures of retirement. Skilled in the art of expression." Todd's eyes fluttered gently. Todd paused, ever so slightly. Yet, I embraced it. What is this? Todd spoke softly. Do you wish for her to peruse the contract? I smiled, as sweet as sugar. Certainly. I could never commit to something without understanding it fully. I would find myself restless through the night. In that enchanting moment, the TV in the background chimed in, as if it were perfectly orchestrated. Prior to making any investments, it is essential to confirm the identities of all parties engaged in the process. I gently pressed the remote, silencing the screen's glow. Gazed directly into their eyes. Indeed, I remarked. Silence enveloped them. Ah, that enchanting day spent by the water, casting our lines into the shimmering depths. It had taken an unexpected turn for them. All I did was whisper the name of a lawyer, and in an instant, their confidence shattered like a delicate teacup slipping from graceful fingers. And now, I had witnessed it all. The trepidation reflected in their gaze, the subtle tremor of anxiety when the course of events faltered, the yearning just beneath the surface. They found themselves beneath the vast sky, gliding gracefully through the water near the boat. All that remained was for me to choose the perfect moment to draw them close. On that Saturday, the sky hung low, cloaked in a somber gray reminiscent of damp ash. The living room was softly illuminated, with shadows gracefully gathering in the corners. The wind whispered through the cracks in the windows, causing the curtains to dance and sway, reminiscent of lungs filled with a delicate tension. The lights remained unlit. I have just brewed a pot of exquisite black tea. Allow it to infuse as the home remained serenely still. Just as I delicately removed the tea bag, the door softly creaked open. Daughter entered gracefully, her presence captivating the room. Not Todd, my dear. He held a grocery bag, from which a carton of milk gracefully emerged at the top. She mentioned she was merely in the vicinity. Laid back. Perhaps a touch too laid back. Her words danced lightly, yet her steps lingered, burdened by an unspoken truth she hesitated to unveil. I nodded in silence, my gaze drifting over the pages of the TV guide. Yet my gaze followed her from the periphery. Dark circles adorned her eyes. The corners of her mouth held a delicate tension, as if sleep had eluded her and tears had graced her cheeks more than once this week. She gracefully settled onto the edge of the couch, her hands delicately folded, as if to maintain a sense of poise and composure. Mother, she murmured at last, her voice barely above a whisper. I've been sensing a disquiet within me, as if something is amiss. Is there something you're keeping from me? I lingered for a moment. Allow the question to linger in the air. Then I lifted my gaze and found myself lost in her eyes. Do you truly seek the truth? I inquired softly. She nodded ever so slightly, as though the weight of the truth might shatter her delicate heart. I remained silent. I gracefully rose, gliding towards the side drawer, where I retrieved my cherished old phone. The screen bore the marks of time, a delicate scratch marring its surface. Its battery scarcely endured. Yet today was truly sufficient. I gently unlocked my device, opened the voice memos app, and with a soft touch, tapped play. I placed it delicately upon the coffee table that lay between us. The melody began to fill the air. Todd's voice emerged first, resonant and smooth. Todd's trailed behind, his presence as intimate as ever. You follow my guidance precisely, just as I have shared with you. Encourage daughter to inquire once more. Let it resonate with authenticity, as if your heart is truly unraveling. We must reach her before she secures her heart. The one who becomes sentimental will retreat gracefully. Hold on a moment. Then Todd's voice returned, imbued with a deeper tone, as if it were teasingly amused. Truly, if she were to pass away peacefully in her slumber, it would be a most serene outcome. Daughter comes into possession of it all. And thus, the final touch was added. Come now, dear elders. They harbor a fear of all that surrounds them. Strife, solitude, the fear of causing offense. They become effortless prey. And then, a hush fell over the moment. Then Todd's let out a melodious laugh. Daughter sprang gracefully to her feet. It felt as though she had been touched by an unseen force, leaving her breathless and disoriented. Her entire form became rigid, her complexion fading to a pallid hue, her lips trembling delicately. He remarked, "If you were to pass away, it would simplify matters." She whispered, her voice shattering like delicate glass. I chose to remain silent. Simply held her gaze. She parted her lips as if to utter a word, only to seal them once more. Her hands began to tremble delicately. Her face danced through a myriad of emotions. Astonishment, bewilderment, incredulity. Then came the profound and piercing descent into heartbreak. He was performing. Throughout all this time, she had ceased to engage in conversation with me. She whispered it softly to herself, yearning to bring it to life. Even I. He took advantage of my trust. I remained silent, my head unbowed. I did not shake my head. Exhale softly, allowing a gentle sigh to escape. She sank back onto the sofa, reminiscent of a balloon that had gracefully slipped from grasp. I pondered. I believed he was merely overwhelmed by his emotions. That he simply wished to create something beautiful for us. I pondered. She gasped, her breath catching in a moment of unexpected tension. Yet, he jested about your demise. She started to weep softly. Soft, gentle cries. This was not a pain that cried out in anguish. It possessed a serene quality. The kind that caused others to avert their gaze. She averted her gaze, concealing her face within her delicate hands, her shoulders quivering beneath the burden of her emotions. I gently retrieved a tissue from the box and offered it to her with a soft smile. Silence speaks volumes. Only the paper. My dear daughter, I whispered gently. You placed your trust in the wrong man. I shall never hold that against you. Yet, in this moment, clarity must be your guiding light. It is time to no longer allow him to hide behind you. She nodded gently, her form slightly bent, as soft breaths escaped her in delicate little hiccups. Yet, the tears began to wane. Her spine gracefully began to straighten. Then she gazed at me, her voice carrying a rough yet unwavering quality as she inquired. Mother, what shall we do next? I cast a glance back at her. In that fleeting moment, I realized she had grasped the essence of the truth. Not merely because I expressed it to her. Not due to my cautionary words. Yet, it was because she had listened to it herself. His voice, his design, his ruthlessness. Absolutely not. At last, she had awakened. On the day of their return, the weather played a cruel trick, radiant and unclouded, as though the heavens had not received the news of their arrival. Todd's, ever devoted to his cherished routine, entered with a box of his exquisite artisan-baked creations. Todd trailed behind, adorned in his familiar gray wool cardigan, a garment he chose when he sought to embody a blend of casual charm and understated elegance. His smile remained steadfast, while his gaze danced toward the hallway cabinet, precisely where I once stored my medicine and bank books. I did not extend a warm greeting, instead, I simply gestured for them to take a seat. Upon the table, in serene stillness, rested a solitary cup of dark coffee alongside a pristine document, both poised with an air of elegance. The elegant transcript of their recorded conversation, beautifully captured in print. The paper rested gracefully upon the delicate lace tablecloth, its crisp edges illuminated by the gentle embrace of the afternoon light. Todd scarcely settled into his seat before gracefully unfolding his sales pitch. Dearest Aunt Tara, we have truly refined the proposal this time around. You spoke of your friend, the one with the ability to review contracts with grace. We have lovingly prepared a draft for her. I lifted my hand gracefully. Today, we shall not delve into the project. My voice flowed gently. Calm and unwavering. This day invites us to explore the intricacies of your plan. Todd's jaw tightened with unspoken tension. His gaze gracefully fell upon the table. Todd's smile lingered, caught in a moment of surprise. He inquired about the plan, attempting to sound nonchalant, yet his effort was already slipping away. I find myself uncertain of your meaning. I gracefully slid the document across the table. The last time you graced this place, I mentioned that an old phone lay hidden beneath the flower pot. It gathered some captivating material. Todd's gaze was captivated by the words on the page. His complexion faded, as if a sudden enchantment had cast a spell upon him. Todd's leaned in, a playful air of bewilderment lingering about him. What is this, I wonder? We do not. I averted my gaze from him. I read with a voice as steady as stone. Once the funds are received, I shall gracefully transfer them into my name. If she were to drift into eternal slumber one day, it would be a simpler fate. Daughter comes into possession of it all. Older individuals often find themselves apprehensive about the complexities of life. In the solitude of one's own company. In the realm of confrontation. They become effortlessly deceived. Stillness. Rich. I embrace forgiveness. Todd's visage quivered ever so slightly. He parted his lips, a sense of urgency enveloping him. That was a tear of laughter. Do join me. A moment of miscommunication. I cast my gaze upon him. I find myself recoiling. You must be wagering that I am of an older age. That I am foolish. That I shall depart this world soon, sparing you the burden of paperwork. Wouldn't you agree? Todd remained silent. His visage had taken on a delicate shade of pale gray. Each deception. Each performance. They had all come undone, each thread gently unwinding beneath my very roof. I turned to him, my voice smooth and composed, as if I were sharing insights on the latest market trends. Can you fathom the journey I undertook to nurture daughter all by myself? Do you truly grasp the essence of what it means to sacrifice? Are you considering embarking on a business venture? Very well. Yet you believed that my departure would bring about a simpler existence. My life's treasures were never meant for your grasp. Should you perceive me as an obstacle rather than a person, allow me to express my thoughts with clarity. This obstacle remains steadfast. There are still many years ahead of me. Todd's lips gently parted. Tara, you seem to be misunderstanding this entirely. I am not, I interjected, gently interrupting him. I have already informed the bank. All substantial transfers remain suspended until they receive personal approval. I have made updates to the trust. My lawyer graced my presence on Wednesday. Not a single coin shall be bestowed upon those who do not share our bloodline. Then I gazed upon Todd's. Should you find yourself near this abode once more, I shall have no choice but to summon the authorities. Todd sprang to his feet, his cheeks aglow, his voice trembling with emotion. You seem to be quite anxious. This exists solely within the confines of your mind. I remained utterly still. The recording you listened to is but one of many. I possess the complete version, encompassing the moment when you and Todd deliberated on how to unravel my resolve. He fell silent, gazed for a fleeting moment, then turned away and closed the door with a decisive force as he departed. Todd remained motionless, his face a canvas of stillness, as if the truth had stolen his breath away, yet his pride held him captive, refusing to reveal his inner turmoil. I gazed at him, seeing straight into his soul. And as I spoke, my voice descended, soft and resolute. You were never my beloved child. You were the beloved husband of my daughter. And for that, I bestowed upon you the reverence that the title truly merits. Yet, as of this moment, that title holds no value in my eyes. He bowed his head, his shoulders gently sagging. Then he whispered, his voice rough and tinged with sorrow. Daughter shall come to rue this decision. My gaze met his, unwavering and resolute. Absolutely not. What she laments, I murmured softly, is not having perceived your true nature sooner. He remained silent, words unspoken between us. With a graceful turn, I stepped away, my eyes aflame, fists clenched, every facade laid bare. I beheld him as he departed. Not with disdain. Not even with a hint of anger. Merely a crisp, unambiguous feeling of resolution. And the gentle realization that, for the very first time in this enduring dance, the tides had shifted. 3 days after Todd departed, daughter returned, carrying nothing but a suitcase, enveloped in a profound silence. Not a single tear. There shall be no grand proclamations. She glided her luggage to the entryway, placed it down with grace, and strolled into the kitchen as if she had never been away. With a graceful motion, she retrieved a bundle of spinach, her hands delicately sorting the leaves with an air of serene intention. I refrained from inquiring about her decision. I was certain she would share her thoughts with me when the moment felt right. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow, she chose that enchanting evening to share her thoughts over dinner. "Mother," she spoke, her voice unwavering. "I have parted with the house. I have taken my leave from that place. I have a charming short-term rental arranged, yet before I embark on that journey, I long to spend some time with you. Is that acceptable?" I inclined my head in agreement. "Your decision is all that I require." She paused for a heartbeat, then softly confessed, "I ended things." He endeavored to persuade me to remain, yet I found myself unable to meet his gaze. I gazed up at her. My voice was gentle, yet it remained unwavering. "You were not grasping him, dear daughter. You clung to the image of who you believed him to be." Her lips met in a delicate embrace. She offered a delicate nod. I believed that by standing beside him, by sharing the burdens he bore, even in the absence of much he could offer in return, it would hold a significance all its own. Yet, I remained blissfully unaware that the most unsightly aspect of him lay concealed just beneath the surface. I extended my hand across the table, enveloping hers in a tender embrace, offering a soft squeeze. "What shatters our spirits," I whispered softly, "is not the weight of poverty, the sting of misfortune, or even the taste of failure. It is the act of bestowing your trust upon another, only to witness them regarded as a vulnerability." Daughter remained silent, offering only a gentle nod once more. Yet within her gaze, I discerned it, the serene, poignant lucidity of a soul who has at last emerged from slumber. After dinner, I presented her with a delicate document folder, a cherished keepsake I had held close for many years. "Your father bequeathed these treasures before he departed," I remarked. "It is not wealth, merely whispers of value. Whispers of inspiration. Dreams and aspirations." He stumbled along the way. At times, his dreams soared to magnificent heights. Yet, he never deceived me. Not a single time. She grasped the folder with a delicate tremor in her hand, her fingers enveloping the paper as if it were an exquisite treasure, both fragile and revered. "You adored," I confided to her. "That is not a transgression of yours. The sole bearer of blame is the man who embraced that love and wielded it carelessly." On that enchanting night, we found ourselves seated upon the balcony. We exchanged few words, allowing the gentle whispers of the wind to serenade us as it danced through the trees in the courtyard below. Leaves rustle softly, akin to whispers of tales too ancient to be spoken aloud. She held back her tears. Yet, I was certain, this time she had reached her limit. Several weeks later, I enrolled in a pottery class at the charming community center. I also acquired a volunteer form, a delightful opportunity to assist with the garden nestled behind the building. The administrator chuckled softly, remarking on the passage of time with a hint of playful affection. I returned the smile with warmth. In my youth, I devoted my time to the art of saving money. At last, I am granted the delightful freedom to revel in the embrace of the earth. Outside, the sun bathed everything in a gentle warmth, just as I adored. As I strolled home, a canvas tote gracefully resting on my shoulder, I meandered past a lively group of children, their laughter echoing as they kicked a ball playfully across the sidewalk. I paused for a fleeting moment, captivated by the scene before me. A smile effortlessly graced my lips. As I gently pushed the door open, I found daughter gracefully arranging hangers in the living room. She looked up, her hair gracefully tucked behind one ear, and offered me a weary yet sincere smile. "Dearest mother, how did you spend your day today?" I lifted the tote, attempted to craft a mug, though it somehow transformed into an ashtray along the journey. We shared a gentle laugh together. At times, one may feel the weight of age upon their shoulders, yet in truth, it is merely the dawning of clarity, revealing the true essence of those around us. Embracing the passage of time does not signify a withdrawal from the grand tapestry of life. It signifies a graceful transition to new arenas, where one champions their own cause. I chose not to entrust my retirement funds to another, but instead, I bestowed upon myself something far more precious. An aura of tranquility. I remained unfooled. I was not shattered. And above all, I remained the master of my own destiny. That moment, it was the true legacy.